Now, from the combined newsrooms of KARK4 and Fox 16, breaking news coverage.
And good morning to you. I'm Mitch McCoy here at KARK4 and Fox 16. Boy, it has been an incredibly violent night in Arkansas. We have tallied up at least 13 gunshot victims, 4 of which have died over here in just the last 12 hours, and it's really within a 10-hour span. You're looking at video from all of these different scenes from across Arkansas. We have shooting investigations happening in Woodruff County, in Augusta, down in Pine Bluff, where there are 3 homicides. There was 4 people shot on Interstate 530 last night, one of those victims have died. And we are now learning this morning about 4 gunshot victims from a shooting that happened late last night in the city of Little Rock. So much happening in just the last 10 hours or so. So let's just quickly go over some of these incidents we know. Let's start with the most recent one. It's in Little Rock. We're told that Little Rock police got a call about a shooting just after 11 o'clock on Nandina Circle. Officers say the people involved range between the ages of 16 and 18. Police say the shooting may have started with an alleged gun sale, a gun transaction. Don't know yet. Detectives still in the midst of that. Interstate 530, 4 people shot there, 1 dead. It happened just north of Woodson Lateral Road. No word on a possible shooter right now. We're also checking to see if with state police to figure out exactly what happened. What were the circumstances? Were these victims in different cars? Was it just one car? We're trying to figure all that out right now. We also are learning about 3 homicides in Pine Bluff. The first one on Lilac, a 69-year-old man found dead outside his home. Just 2.5 hours later, more gunfire. This was on 17th and Elm. A 17-year-old boy was found dead outside. Another man shot, taken to the hospital. He's expected to survive. And then minutes later, a 20-year-old was found murdered in front of a home with a gunshot wound. Again, no arrests in any of those Pine Bluff shootings as of yet. And again, that shooting in Augusta and Woodruff County, we know somebody's being questioned in that. This happened in a T-shirt shop at 4th and Main. The victim's injuries are non-life threatening. It's just so sad. And you know, KARK4, Fox 16, dedicated to exploring victory over violence, figuring out what can we do as Central Arkansans, just as Arkansans in general, to end some of the violence and find solutions to that. And that's why I'm so excited to join and welcome in Robert Holt. He's the executive director of LOVE. LOVE stands for Let Our Violence End. It is such a simple phrase, but it's so powerful, Robert.
Yes, you know, Mitch, right now that is one of the greatest things that we need is love. And you know, we can talk about love and how that, you know, might feel good and might feel cushy, but the greatest message that we can give to somebody is helping somebody that is hurting right now. And unfortunately, there are a lot of people in our communities that are hurting. And we know that we're in a pandemic. We know that we have issues that are going on around our country right now. But the greatest thing that each and every one of us can do is check on our neighbors, find out who is in need in our communities, and begin finding resources to help those individuals in need. And that's what Victory Over Violence is all about.
Robert, what do you make out of all of these shootings? I mean, right now, again, we don't know if any of them are connected. It's too soon to know, but does this just mean there's a lot more work to do?
There's a lot more work to do. You know, again, Mitch, how long have you and I and several of us have been on these streets working to try to get people to understand that if we start reaching those that are hurting the most, then we're going to see a decrease in the violence. We're not going to end the violence, but we're going to see a decrease in the violent activity. Right now, we're being desensitized to the fact of, oh, well, somebody else got shot. No, we ought to be crying over every single individual that has lost their lives or they're being wounded by gunshot right now. And so that is one of our issues, is that we've got to get a message out, not only of hope, but of how we can come together and unite our communities together to help those that are in need right now.
Robert, for those who don't know about your organization and all the incredible, amazing work that you guys do, tell me a little bit about it.
Well, right now here at Healing Waters, we serve 28,000 individuals a year through our center, and we have about 65 other organizations that we help. We just got through unloading a 53-foot trailer full of veggies, and several of our community organizations were here, and we have some here for our own community as well. But we have our own staffing agency. We do mentoring. We have clothes. We have food. We do job training. So these are the things that we are working on here in order to build up our community instead of tearing our community down.
Robert, you know, I can't help but think about, we have 4 homicides, 13 people total shot in just about 10 hours, 12 hours. I can't help but think about all of these families that are just puzzled in some of these incidents. When we're talking about a 16-year-old shot in Little Rock, when we're talking about a 20-year-old shot dead, found dead outside a home in Pine Bluff, what would you say to those families that are just probably trying to figure out how to make it through the day?
See, Mitch, I get emotional. You know, that's one of the things right now is that people don't understand that those families right now, they are hurting. They're in need right now of people just saying, hey, I'm here for you, and to listen. They don't need somebody to come in and say, oh, I feel so sorry for you. What they need is they just need people around to surround them right now with as much love as they possibly can. And then those that are affected outside of the family, even their friends, you know, if it's gang related, there could be retaliation, whatever it could be. And we've got to deal with the retaliation. We need to go to those individuals and say, enough is enough. We've got to stop this.
You know, Robert, I'm looking at some of these comments on Facebook, and a lot of people talking about, when will it stop? What can we do? People saying, you know, people, of course, making assumptions to the shootings. Cassandra saying this is ridiculous. Ashley agreeing with Cassandra, saying, right. What can people that may not be involved in these shootings specifically do today to make a difference?
Just yesterday, I talked with Cindy DeRamus. She is the CEO of the Boys and Girls Clubs. And so one of their greatest needs right now are people involved in those children. We need mentors. We need people involved in children's lives. We might not be able to go one-on-one with a child during this pandemic, but we can do Zoom meetings. We can set up groups. We can do email. We can set you up with children. We've got schools right now that are in need of mentors to mentor a lot of these kids in the community. And I can tell you this, the violence is in every community. It's not a black issue. It's not a white issue. It's not a Hispanic issue. It is all of our issue. And we all have got to unite in order to do something about it. And what to do is to get out of our 4 walls and let's go find some place where I can volunteer and help some organization that's helping our children, helping our families. That's what we can do.
Robert, I know that you can't see the live feed here, but we're looking at a map right now of where all of these homicides took place. And again, for people to get a big picture perspective, 4 different homicides across multiple counties. We have, 2 different counties. We have 3 homicides in Jefferson County. We have another homicide in Saline County on Interstate 530 near Woodson Lateral. You know, sometimes people get tired of hearing that that phrase, well, welcome to Little Rock. But you said it. You said that there's violence everywhere you go, and you can all make a difference in your own community because it's not just a black issue. It's not just a white issue. These are fundamental issues happening all across the country.
You know, one of the things, Mitch, that I said when I go to do a conference, and I'll make this quick, is that one of the greatest issues that we have, 2 of our largest gangs in our country, I ask, they always say, well, Crips and Bloods. And I say, well, you got the right colors, red and blue. It's Democrats and Republicans. How can we expect our children to change when we as adults can't change? And that's one of our issues, is that how can we expect a child out there who is seeing all this division out here and seeing that it's okay, how do we expect them to change when we ourselves are not beginning to change at all? We've got to start with ourselves. Love, we've got to start with ourselves and start training others how to love one another.
Very, very good message here as we come up on the noon hour. And I know you're right in the middle of some work too. Robert, I don't want to take up any more of your time. I do appreciate it. Robert Holtz, the Executive Director of Love, Let Our Violence End. Robert, you do amazing work. I know that you are a fundamental partner in our Victory Over Violence campaign, our mission to step up and try and figure out the issues in our community and go deeper into those issues to figure out what can we do, all of us, to just make our community safer. So Robert, I do appreciate your time.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mitch. And they'll be hearing more about how they can get involved soon.
I can't wait. I can't wait. Robert, thank you so much. Just to recap, folks, if you're just joining us here on our live coverage here on Facebook and on KRK.com, Fox16.com, there have been 13 people shot. That has been our total that we've been able to tally up throughout the morning. We are in the know of about 4 homicides. You're looking at video from the homicide last night on Interstate 530. You see all of the Arkansas State Troopers lined up there in the distance as they try and piece together exactly what unfolded there. And this was just north of Woodson Lateral Road. You see traffic also backed up as state troopers begin their investigation into this shooting. So there's a lot to unpiece today. There's a lot to try and figure out. And let me tell you, we have our team of reporters working this story right now. We have reporters in Pine Bluff. We have reporters in Little Rock. We have reporters along Interstate 530 asking questions. We will get them for you. Our live coverage of what has just been a violent night across Arkansas begins in just a few moments on KRK4 News at noon. Arkansas Today joining us in just a moment. And then our team coverage begins at 4 o'clock on KRK4 News at 4, and of course Fox 16 News at 5:30. For now, I'm Mitch McCoy. Again, if you're just joining us, there have been multiple shootings overnight. We have 13 people shot. 4 of them are dead in just the span of 10 hours across Little Rock, Pine Bluff, Saline County on Interstate 530, and Woodruff County in Augusta. Have a great afternoon. We'll have breaking news as it happens all day long right here on KRK.com, Fox16.com, and all of our digital platforms.
This has been breaking news coverage from the combined newsrooms of KARK4 and Fox 16. We now return to your regularly scheduled program.